Okay. hmm Welcome to this live edition. Welcome. Welcome. Welcome to you all. Welcome. As you now come in, share the live. Oh my gosh. Share the live. Share the live. Share the live. As you now come in, share the live. Welcome to this edition of the GMS Live, Voice of Democracy, on this the 9th day of November, which is Tuesday. A lot of things to discuss tonight. A lot of things to discuss. So tonight we're going to discuss strictly money. Things are not seeming to getting well at all for Guyana and Guyanese, and it seems to be going overboard. And it's kind of scratching my head because I don't know what's happening. So we're going to expound upon it tonight. We will have this conversation. And I would like these public spirited Guyanese citizens who would look at the Gavin Matthews show, you call in and be a part of the conversation because what is happening in my country is kind of baffling me. So we're going to have this conversation and we're going to see how best and fruitful it is going to work for all of us. So, welcome to you from Guyana, to the Caribbean Isles, the West Indian Isles, the Pacific Isles, the British Virgin Isles, the US Virgin Isles, the Maldives, Mexico, the US, Canada, the UK, European Union, China, Beijing, Hong Kong, Japan, from those from the Taiwanese Straits, those from the Korean Peninsula who are looking. Yes, every day I get to learn a few things more, what is going on. Those from the from the country of India, and from Pakistan and Tajikistan and Uzbekistan. All of these people who are looking from these particular places. Good night to you who are looking from the continent of Australia, Melbourne and Tasmania. To those who are looking from the Isles of New Zealand and the Isles of Tonga, those who are looking from the African continent as far as Cote d'Ivoire, and South and North Sudan, which was once formerly known as Nubia, places as far as the Arab Emirates, and as closest as to Angola. Those who are looking from those isles off the isles of the Ivory Coast. Gavin Matthews show is pretty much reaching far and wide to those who are looking from the South American continent, places like Argentina and Chile, Colombia and Venezuela, Brazil, Suriname, French and Dutch Guyana, to the Netherlands, to Curacao, places as far as Trinidad and Tobago, who wants to be specially mentioned, and from Barbados. I want to say thank you and good night to all of you, good evening to all of you who are now joining. So, you would have turned on your program tonight to look at the Gavin Matthews show, and you realize there's some figures up there. We're going to get to those figures and how they get to that particular portion. ExxonMobil Guyana Limited, through Eepgl Esso Exploration Petroleum Guyana Limited. Hold on, I'm going to make sure that I use the right pronunciation. No, sorry. Esso Exploration Production Guyana Limited. ExxonMobil uses that company as a subsidiary body to do their exploration in Guyana, has issued a receipt to the Guyanese government of 9.5 billion US dollars. $9.5 billion US dollars. That's what we owe Esso. That's what we owe ExxonMobil through its subsidiary body of EEPGL, Esso Exploration Production Guyana Limited, which is a jointly subsidiary body from ExxonMobil and China Oil and Gas. Here, what's the problem? One person said in the news media that if we had a proper audit, we would have subtracted 235.2 billion Guyana dollars, which is an equivalent of 1.1 billion US dollars. That money would have been good for the Guyanese economy because we wouldn't have to pay that extra 1.1 billion US dollars. But here, what's the thing? I don't know who's piggybacking on it, but they're passing it off in the media like if it's some change. When the PPP took over in 1992, they said they received a bill of debts owed, which is 200 million US dollars. That's what they said. That was the debts owed. Jadeo When he became president, he talked about debts being write off. If one tends to look when they say debts are written off, it's not the debt that has been written off. It is the interest on the debt that has been written off. That's what happens. The debt don't be written off. When that debt was written off, they had a whole lot of grants being given. Guyana was on the verge of being grant full. Because every time you turn to a different country, there's a $200 million grant, a $35 million grant. The Chinese bought Guyana for $40 million through Jack. You must be able to tell you that. His government received $40 million in 2001 from the Guyanese government, from the Chinese government. 40 million US dollars. GT&T gave him every year 1 million US dollars. Then he was minister. He was president and minister of information. So GT&T gave him that money. It was written and sent to his office of the president. Now, we got serious problems. Here, what's the problem? Liza 1 and Liza 2. Exploration has finished. Exxon would have said to us that those wells would have already been dried up. So there's nothing there. Now we have to pay for the services that was given to explore those two wells. It's causing the Guyanese taxpayers 9.5 billion US dollars. Oh, what a calamity. And we have politicians, investigative reporters, we have radio stations and television stations, we have the print media, all of these people to help inform the Guyanese public. What is Exxon really talking about? This is what they're talking about. Why we went and we look at these two wells and they ain't got nothing in it. Whilst we went and looked at these two wells, there were nobody put there to supervise us to make sure the information that we give is correct. That's number one. There is no local content to make sure we're being guided by the laws of Guyana, to make sure that what you're telling us is the truth. It's not telling you lies. There is nobody to be put there to make sure that the expenses that Exxon is claiming that is correct. So when we have an audit, that information would be balanced. No one. Mr. Jagio said he's the man in charge of oil and gas. And you can imagine he went to the media, approached the media, and talked about the inability to audit 905 billion US dollars. Let me ask you something, man. We serious? Are we really serious in this country? 9.5 billion US dollars in 2 years. Now the Guyanese taxpayers are left to pay that money. Because Exxon ain't getting it from me. They're not getting it from us. We don't have nothing to give them. We can't even approach the sovereign wealth fund to say, look, take who we got there. Now, imagine you owe a giant like me $9.5 billion. Your economy is worth 15 million US dollars. You owe me 9.5 billion US dollars. The worth of your country or your economy, because according to the budget, is 15 million US dollars. Not 15 billion, 15 million. Where are you going to start paying me back that money? So we're left now to the mercies of Exxon. Exxon could tell me tomorrow morning to stop drilling. We ain't gonna drill no more till they give me back my money. What do you think will happen there? Think about it, guys. What do you think will happen there? Exxon will now force the government to surrender value to repay the debt. Exxon said to this de facto administration a year ago, look, man, you want us to review the existing contract, the 5-year period is up. I don't have a problem. But we must review the contract with the presence of the opposition. So they must be a part of that reviewing according to the understanding of the contract. The regime said no. Exxon said, all right. But to cover our overhead costs, we must continue exploring. So if we do find oil and we start extracting, it will now cover the costs of what we stand to bear to start drilling the oil according to the contract. Now, Exxon is left to do what they want with no supervisory provisions being in place. The little boy that we have, who's the only equipped one for the oil and gas certificates in the terrorist party. You understand? He signed up and say, well, he can go and make sure accountability is being given because he has knowledge of it. Is this the contract that the Ghanaians help you with? Mr. Jabdio? Is this the contract that the Ghanaians help you with? Mr. Granger? Because since both of you approach the same people to be assisted in the reviewing of and creating of certain contracts, or if I'm wrong, tell me. Is this the mechanism, the working mechanism that the Ghanaians provide you with so you can benefit from the extraction of oil? There's a difference from exploration and extraction. Can you imagine we signed into a contract for you to come and explore? That means to see if you can find oil without no money. We had nothing to start with, and we're ending up with nothing. Imagine that. Imagine that. Guyanese who are looking, take a good look and help to understand where are we going. Imagine 9.5 billion US dollars. But I can't even start accumulating how much Guyana dollars it is. I think it must be about 4 or 5 trillion by now. 9.5 billion. US dollars. That's how much we owe. It's actually 10 billion. Just 500 million US short. Just know it's going to surpass 15, 20, $30 billion. Our children and their children and their children's children can't even pay that back in a lifetime. It's best we sign Guyana over to Exxon and name Guyana Exxon. Because that's what's going to happen next. You imagine you owe me 9 billion and you can't start showing how you're going to repay me for this money. So what's the next step I can start doing? I can start forfeiting on your land, on your prime real estate, because remember, you don't have bonds to sell me. Guyana doesn't have bonds that surpass $100 million. No, we don't have. We don't have bonds that are strong enough to surpass $100 million US dollars. I wish if we had. Seriously. I wish if we had. But we're running into serious problems. We're running into serious problems. And here is the problem. We can't start repaying this money. There's no way we can start repaying this money. We don't even have a clue how to start paying $1 billion, much less 100 million. Where are we going to get that money from? Then here is the problem now with us. I want you to take your time and understand. You owe me 9 billion. $9 billion. And your country is not worth the amount of money that you owe me. That's one. You leave and you've gone internationally to borrow money. For what? To finance the local GDP, gross domestic product. Now you could imagine you coming to me to borrow money, you owe somebody 9 billion. 9 billion. Your country can't even make the money in 10, 15 years in taxes. Right now. You owe somebody 9 billion, you're coming to me to borrow money, you expect me to lend you? I'm trying to colonize my brain to see if I can come up with a better understanding in how we can go about doing these things that are good for us and beneficiary to us. Believe you me, I'm trying to understand it. You can imagine you owe the Bank of Jamaica 9 million US dollars since in 2002. 9 million US dollars. That's how long you owe them. Can't even repay them up to this day. That's 9 million US dollars. Louis said it's 2 billion Guyana dollars. You can't repay them. You owe ExxonMobil 9 billion, 9.5 billion. Those are monies that they say they would have spent without auditing, without proper auditing. What's the use of the Public Accounts Committee if the government cannot be answerable to the things that they have done? What is the use of the Public Accounts Committee? It's just to what? Approve budgetary allocation all over again when the de facto regime cannot give proper accountability. Can you imagine? Seriously, one trying to articulate how to start refunding, how to start to hold on, wait, how to start paying back this money. Because where are we getting it from? Even if we sell all again, we still can't pay back 9 billion. Because Ghana doesn't have the population to create the taxes to pay back 9 billion. And we want to give out a contract to two individuals, two criminals, for 900 million that put together their own wealth and resources. They can't give an account for it. Y'all see where we're going? Y'all see where we're going? Seriously. This is not about people being wicked. I want you to understand this is not about people being wicked. This is about you getting your act and your senses together. Because apparently like $9 billion seems like chump change to some of us. Like it don't register to our heads as yet. Because who has to pay that money back? It's the Guyanese taxpayers. When are we going to start paying? Can you imagine? At this day and age, we can't have a proper healthcare facility to give medical attention to our citizens or citizenry. We can't pay nurses, we can't pay doctors and teachers and lawyers, magistrates. We can't pay public servants. Imagine we owe 9.5 billion US dollars and we can't do these things. So you can imagine, and we can't start paying back on the 9.5 billion. What is going to be the outcome of the state of affairs in Guyana? We can live off of grants and handouts. Apparently, that's what it's looking like. Mr. Nathan Fraser, let me help you to understand this. I don't know where you're living, but I want to answer your question. I'm gonna put up your stuff on the screen so people can see what it is. You said here, and I like to answer questions. You don't know how to believe you, Mr. Matthews, because you once said Jack Dio can't leave the country ever, and he did. Let me answer your question. Do you know who's the United States of America? Do you know? Let me give you an understanding. They said Saddam Hussein was a tyrant. He possessed weapons of mass destruction. But yet still, the United States of America aided and abetted him into fighting, helped to fight the war. Then between Iran and so is the Soviet Union. When they finished with him, they got rid of him. Do you know what's his name again? Osama bin Laden? They armed him to fight that 10-year war with the Soviet Union in Afghanistan for 10 years. When they finished with him, they called him a terrorist. Do you understand what I mean? They created Manuel Noriega. And when Manuel turned around on them, you know what they did? They called him a terrorist and a tyrant. I don't believe you live in a world. I don't believe you live in a world. The US State Department called the PPP regime then in 2001 a party of terrorists because they aided and abetted human violation against human rights in Guyana in 2001. Ask Condoleezza Rice, because you know why? She was the Secretary of State then. No, I don't remember. She didn't. She aided that report, and she gave sight to it. And look what they're doing now. They're aiding and abetting him. When he's flying, he got to fly under the guidance of the U.S. State Department. Sarah Ann Lynch. So anybody could talk what they feel like. So here was the problem now. It's not Gavin Matthews said. It's what is there. I don't talk off my own, sir. I do my research. I do my research on what I want to research on. Because I love researching upon what I want to research on. Whether you like it or not, I don't mind. You want to call and you want to debate on it, call in and we can have a conversation. I can give you a platform. I'd make sure that your voice be heard. When I finish, let's see how the both of us can agree to disagree. But I can tell you this. It's not Gavin Matthews submitted a report of 9.5 billion US dollars in receipt of money spent on behalf of Guyana. It was ExxonMobil through ESSO Exploration Production Guyana Limited, the local public company that they're using. You understand what I mean? Now we got a big issue. Suddenly, tell me if things ain't going right in Guyana or going wrong. Suddenly, some local DJs became contractors. They became contractors. They bid for a contract and they be issued contracts. Local DJs. Oh, I remember. That's also a shadow company of Barrett Jagdeo. Hits and Jams. He owns it. I don't know if it's 60%, 50%, or 40%. He owns some part of the percentages in that company. So don't be ashamed or don't be astonished to see they suddenly turn contractors. That's what's happening, and they're the major registration in Guyana. They're making sure that the nonsense that they've been happening and peddling and the terrorist behavior by this de facto terrorist regime are being quieted down. You see what they did? They took their main man, Stan Govaya, and made him the deputy, the second person in charge of the Guyana Telecommunications Unit in the Guyana Police Force. Yes. Sorry, I think it's Communications Unit. Yes, the National Communications Unit in the Guyana Police Force. They took the main man that had the hot seat, where both political parties used to have to want to go on to talk to represent themselves. You remember the hot seat with Stan Govaya? They took him from there because 94.1, actually. They took him from there. They made him second in charge. They put all the people that they once dealt with, like Kashi from Shanghai. They made him some kind of advisor somewhere or the other. It doesn't really interest me. But this is how the slaves work. You pay a slave to entertain a slave. You keep telling them it's good to remain a slave because the bread and butter is well buttered. Come, enjoy the pigtail and the oxtail and chicken foot. Enjoy the scrap meat that falls off the table. Whilst all these things is going on, the biggest thing in Guyana's history is been happening right under our nose. And people are opening the papers and seeing it and say, oh, 9.5 billion US dollars. Why them people like money bad? And that is our conception. We don't understand the impact and the temerity of it until when we feel it. Until when the Guyanese taxpayers feel it under the soles of their feet because they will suddenly can't afford to do anything at all. We now stand under the whims of the State Department and a terrorist regime like the PPP. Because whether we like it or not, it's the US ambassador along with the State Department is controlling these terrorists. Whether we like it or not. Whether we like it or not, and when we finish, we can turn on a 94.1 and we can sing for 2 pieces of chicken, a little snap of fries, and a cup of soda. All of we join the bus. All of us, come, yes, come on board, join the bus. Come here, get this strap. Sing for a couple pieces of chicken. 2 pieces of chicken and some fries and a cup of soda. A 10-ounce cup of soda. Y'all sing. Enjoy yourselves. You come on, tune on, I can entertain y'all. I'm not going to tell you what's happening. I'm going to entertain you. And when we finish, sing for the 2 pieces of chicken, the little fries and the soda, we suddenly got a DJ competition, a clash. Everybody turn on. Nobody reading the papers no more. You suddenly tune into 94.1. Now you are telling me, oh, they got some contract today, some big contract. You didn't know that was going to happen all the time? The truth is hidden in plain sight. They never take it away from you. They just put it in front of you. They put it in front of you. Y'all don't bother me. Don't bother the Gavin Matthews show. I don't entertain people, so I don't really get much. I just get a little frokens. The people who wants to educate themselves and they're going to spread the word, those are the people I want. Y'all don't bother with me. And if you come on and show you become educated, well, then inform those who wants to be more educated, more informed, not misinformed or misled, more informed. So the facts can be there. So I don't know what the goodly brother thinks of the United States of America. The presidencies may change, but their policies don't change at all. They might find another way around it, but it remains the same. Look, man, this thing here, it's simple. If I turn up in this country tomorrow and I realize everything that can give away, you expect me to sit down and tell you how not to give it away? It's common sense. I could be President Biden in his good manners, and I turn up in Guyana and I realize Guyana they put give away. You think I will instruct my State Department to say, okay, make sure that they create local content so we can't take anything from them? No, I will never let you create any local content because my interest is for the United States of America, not for Guyana. I don't care how much Guyanese living in my country. Since Guyana strike oil, how much people you see flowing back home? And when Guyana presidency changed, a lot of people came back home. But since this terrorist regime take over back, a lot of people fly out. A lot of people. You don't see the big long lines no more at immigration office because all the main characters gone. Now, keepers of democracy that was guarding the containers now kicking down barricades and going on like they're heading good. It was the same people that they were supporting. They didn't know that. So now we got a bill to pay 9.5 billion US dollars. That bill come just like that. No audit, no, how should I put it over? No supervision. You had no policeman over there. You had no local content to guide that bill. You had nothing. We can't even challenge the bill because we don't know how to do it. We don't understand the mechanisms how to challenge the bill. Oh, and the people to be brought from Ghana. Y'all don't talk about them people. They make no sense. They make no sense. They're worse off than us. They are worse off than us. Now we got an increasing bill that hit us like a bullet wound. Let me show you what I mean by this bill. And this is one of their own people. I can tell you that. And this is what I know. Hold on. We go read. We are going to read. Okay, found it. It says failure to audit Exxon's 9.5 billion spending is criminal. Guyana's failure to audit Exxon's 9.5 billion spending is tantamount to the government aiding and abetting the fleecing of Guyana's resources. This is according to Canadian-based Guyanese Dr. Jerry Gillard, who in the public statement to this publication, which is the Kaito News, said in recent revelation by Vice President, the terrorist Jagdeo, who oversees the oil and gas sector, that the 9.5 billion Liza 1 and Liza 2 expenses have not been audited is tantamount to government aiding and abetting the fleecing of Guyana's resources. As such, he was adamant the sin of omission, of failure to do audits, is as bad as the sin of commission of wrongdoing, and that no excuse can absolve the government to this grave sin against the nation. This is not Exxon doing it to us. This is our own government doing it to us. He suggested that Guyana, at the beginning of its oil journey, is already manifesting the resource cause syndrome. Positioned by drawing reference to the fact that the ongoing Public Account Committee hearing are all about how countries' monies are being misspent, and there is poor accountability, poor record keeping, missing receipts of transactions, and payments running into hundreds of millions of dollars. And at the end of the hearing, nobody is being jailed for unaccounted millions. That's how it's being seen. At the end of the day, Exxon gave you a bill, it was not audited, no accountability, nobody can answer no question about the 9.5 billion. That's it. And we got to foot the bill as taxpayers because nobody can be jailed for that. It don't pass, sweep under the carpet. Guyana got to sand the bill of $9.5 billion. That's what's happening. He pointed also to the poorly equipped hospitals that kill our loved ones. Dialysis treatment is unavailable in most of Guyana. Most of our village roads are mud roads still. Our schools are primitive. Internet services are unavailable or poor in the most Guyana. And we have a long list of urgent needs for that money that we need, that we can't give an account. We can't even ask ExxonMobil to give an account for that money that's been spent because, how can I give account for money that's been spent? You got to pay for it. When you ain't got no existing laws. You got no existing laws. You got nothing. You got no existing local content. So how can you pay for something that there's no existing content? There's nothing to guide us. There's a contract that needs to be renewed and it can't be renewed up to now. But we want to create laws to take something away from our Constitution, like the Representation of the People's Act, ROPA, that is under review presently. That a bill is supposed to be tabled in Parliament at the end of this year for a review of the Representation of the People's Act. I know fleecing is a nice word, but it's raping indeed. but it's not even raping. Yes, raping is a part of it, but it's murder. It's enslavement. Now we have existing slavery that's going on. So our girl children are going through a hell of a time. It's what's going on in Guyana. Prostitution is on the increase because of heightened cost of living. You owe somebody 9.5 billion and you're trying to raise taxes so you can start paying that money from who? From 40% of the working population. You want them to start paying monies on the 9.5 billion US dollars. We can't even pay back in our own lifetime. Our grandchildren, great grandchildren can't pay it back. Referencing the president's, the dunce assertion, which says, we are a rich nation of poor people. What sins have we committed that our politics, we vote for one set of for one set of dollars to replace the previous set? When is this vicious cycle going to stop? Seriously, it's not wrong. Iran, I love his words. Man of my heart. He's sparing nobody. Everybody got to be blamed. Everybody got to be blamed. We got one man referring to the $9.5 billion that ExxonMobil has produced, the bill, referring it as to 50-something years of revenue for each Guyanese. I'm like saying, when are we going to wake up and realize we got to challenge the system? We got to challenge these boys that think because something big looks like they want to cut me off again. Oh, I'm back on. Yes. So it's not about one man alone, it's about a group of people. Because there's a lot of money being spread around. Money being given out, a steady 18 million, or 10 million US dollars, or 20 million US dollars. And we got people fighting, fighting, killing. Can you remember it was 60 million US dollars? It caused the Lusignan massacre and the Bartica massacre. And the Lindo Creeks and the murders in Linden and all these people. One big commotion, policemen dying. 60 million US dollars caused that in our country. And we're giving heed to a man that is worse than Jim Jones. And we're giving heed to a wicked witch, Sierra Lynch, who's propping the man who's worse than Jim Jones up. And we're smiling and giggling at it. Oh, what are we going to do? We can't do nothing. Why is this terrorists parading, tearing our country apart? Tearing our country apart. And when we got to get serious, we're not getting serious. No, man, we can go up on social media and talk about it. And that's the only thing that's going to happen. We keep on talking about it. The people like Gavin Matthews are going to be paraded in front of the court steady. We're going to be harassed by the police steady. I don't know how long more I'm going to live doing this. Because the more longer these people stay in, the more strength they're gathering. And when they gather the strength, this time they're not going to be the knees upon our necks. It's going to be the feet upon our necks, cracking our necks, fracturing our skulls, because we're a bunch of slaves. They do it in front of us. We can't challenge them because we're afraid. Fear more than anything else. We are afraid. So much afraid that we can't help being frightened about it. Let me say this to you guys. We now gotta be very strong in what we do. I'm serious. I don't care who vexed me when I attack certain people. I don't care. I got to speak out. If I don't speak out, I don't know what's going to happen to the voiceless. You got to attack them. And I'm serious. How can you at this time play them tunes, them kind of vulgar tunes in the radio, take off your clothes to me, girl? And whilst our country is being raped billions of US dollars that we have never even seen yet. And look who you're entertaining. Look and see who you're entertaining. And when they entertain those people, you become blinded to the truth. Nothing can happen after then. Wildfire. Nobody understands what's going on. I'm serious. Nobody understands what's going on. If you look and see what's happening in our country, that division process has started. Because the PPP can't get a voting constituency anymore, they're not the majority. They will never be the majority. All of their constituencies has left this country. To the poor and the working class, all of them. They can't participate in this country anymore. So their duty now is to divide the blacks among themselves, put them into class. You got a working class and you got a poor class. So that's what the PPP is doing now. They're trying to do that. And what is happening, if you realize that I'm cut off, notice that that's not from my end, because constantly I'm being interfered with. Hold on. So the division is already in progress. The 1% rules, the 99%. And we got to divide them in class. So we can't say race no more. Just divide them, working class and poor class. They got no middle class. And we can get our objectives done. That's what they're doing. They like what they're doing. Believe you me. And they ain't stopping at it. And we can see ourselves as a powerhouse that can emerge out of this nonsense together. Because it's not taking us anywhere. We're not benefiting anyhow from it. We are in a position that we are struggling to maintain. We got to be serious what we're doing, as Guyanese. We got to get our acts together. We got to know what we're doing.